Jess has been dubbed by a dear friend of ours the knower of things. They
I'm
have
sh-
their own religion now. So all they have to do is funnel most of the money through that, and it's completely tax-free.
oh, it's going to be a whole lot of your great and glorious leader spreading his seed around.
Allegedly. The word of the day is allegedly. The organization we talk about today is allegedly a legitimate business. They allegedly are not a cult. They allegedly don't promote crime or force gender transition. While the police have investigated, they were unable to find any legal wrongdoing. The FBI are also involved. But for now, everything done is allegedly.
Don't adjust your settings. You are right where you need to be. Pull the curtains. Lock the doors. They can't know. They don't want you knowing. So pull up a chair and prepare. The Conclave is now in session.
Okay, so now that we've gone over the historical viewpoints of Twin Flames and the modern, now that we've pissed Jess off with the S word, let's go into the second half of this. Let's talk the meat and potatoes. Let's talk about the dramatic, the exciting, the all the good stuff. But before we do that, let me put this disclaimer out there. One, we're not going to be naming the company. We're not going to name the organization because this is still an active organization. We're also not going to call them a cult. I'm not going to call them a cult.
A heightened control
Two
organization.
negative things. They are an alleged heightened control organization. Do I personally think they're a... Oh, yeah.
Can we call them a cunt? That could be our...
No, because even though you use that word all the time, and as a woman, I believe you have the absolute right to use that word all the time, and I use it occasionally, referencing your use of it all the time as my permission and my get out of jail free card. I don't think a lot of the viewers are going to appreciate you using the word. It's a very disappointed sit, folks. For those of you listening and not watching, that was a look of heightened disappointment on Jess's face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can move to Australia where they use it like a term of endearment.
No, not Australia.
Too many spiders.
Too many spiders. I don't want to share a toilet with a spider.
No.
I'm afraid it'll bite me on my... we can move to Ireland. I've sent you house listings for places in Ireland.
Too remote.
But I want remote. I don't want to be around people.
I want a grocery store within driving distance. I want Amazon to be able to deliver.
They still can't. They're going to... Listen, as soon as they get drone delivery, we're moving to Ireland. In the remotest of places.
All right.
So, like Jess said earlier, we were keyed in on this by a dear friend of ours who's going to be on our panel episode here in next month. No, this month. When this airs, it'll be this month.
Yeah, I was asking if she had any recommendations for information on Twin Flames.
So Jess has been dubbed by a dear friend of ours the knower of things. Right? If she is the knower of things, Erica is like the card catalog.
Yeah, she's like the head librarian. Like she knows where everything is.
She knows where everything is, and she has a not just have research material, but good research material for flipping everything.
Yeah, like so it's like if I have a question about like where to dig up some decent research material, I usually ask her.
Yep.
Because I don't want to always just go to Google for it because there's a lot of, especially something like Twin Flames, there's a lot of weird shit out there.
There's a lot of stuff to weed through. But what we ended up finding was two documentaries. One on Amazon Prime, free to included in Prime subscription. So I think that's an important one to know. So it's Desperately Seeking Soulmate, Escaping Twins Flame Universe. The other is on Netflix by the title of Escaping Twin Flames.
So if you put Escaping Twin Flame on either of those, you'll find them.
I just Googled Twin Flames.
Yeah.
And it brought me to both. You'll find out they use all the names In fact, I just said the name of the organization and the title of one of them.
Yep.
So, but that's the closest we're going to come to it because they are an active organization with lawyers,
Yeah, and they're highly
way
active
more money
and
than we have,
very litigious.
and they will sue the shit out of us.
Now, the one on Netflix, so you know the type of people we're dealing with. The one on Netflix opens up with one of the main um, heads of the organization in his Porsche, calling it a Porsche like a fucking douchebag. He says the word Porsche like 6 times in the first
This
30
is my
seconds of this fucking time.
$120,000
Porsche.
Porsche, and these are the sunglasses I use
Use
only in
my
my Porsche.
Porsche. I have special driving glasses for my Porsche. And not everybody can have a Porsche. Like seriously, like in 30 seconds you know you want to throw punch this guy.
You really do.
Like
So we'll give a little backstory to them. So this is a husband and wife combination.
yep.
The husband is, I believe, from Michigan originally, or
Yeah,
one of those areas,
I believe so.
and theater kid, very charismatic, always showing off, always doing all these crazy, goofy things.
Always looking for the next hustle too. Like
Yeah,
he was
definitely.
very obsessed with materiality, according to the people that he grew up with.
Yeah, he's definitely the kind of guy that was highly obnoxious to people who weren't in his friend group. Uh, I can almost, it doesn't say it in any of the documentaries that I remember, but I can guarantee you if his high school experience was anything like what my high school was like, he was picked on a lot by the jocks.
He wanted the finer things in life. That's definitely
All
like
he ever really wanted to do was make money and become rich. Right? He even went to college just for business.
yeah, just to do that.
Which I think, in all honesty, for those of you who are out there listening that want to go to college soon, I think go to business, or at least don't go without a concentrative idea.
Yeah, you
to
better
it.
be going into econ or finance or
The number of people, because I grew up in a college town, the number of people, especially when I was out of the Marine Corps, working in the restaurants and the bar scene, talking to coworkers who were currently going to college, and they were like, "Oh, I'm going to school for business. Oh, what business do you want to be in? I don't know. So what are you getting out of it? Not really anything. What the hell's the point?"
yeah.
But anyway, so he gets a business degree, and he moves to Hawaii.
Yeah, it's not like he literally just like wakes up one day. He's like, I'm going to Hawaii.
Yeah, he had no reason to go, just wanted to go.
He just like fucked off to Hawaii for a time.
Which is where he starts getting into spirituality. Kind of. I personally, I don't know if you got this or not. I never thought he actually bought into any of the shit he was saying.
I think if he weren't so driven by material desires, it'd be different. I think part of him does believe to an extent.
I believe he believes it would make him money.
No, but like, when he met his wife, like she was offering tarot readings and he was like, you know what, fuck it, I'll give it a shot. Like I think part of him wants to believe at the very least in
Okay.
something. Which I think makes him more convincing as a speaker.
That's
because
fair.
there's still part of him that believes that this is possible.
I think maybe at that point, I don't think he's there. And
No, I think
when he started his internet businesses, that's where he lost any belief in anything other than the almighty dollar.
Yeah, I think especially when he started matchmaking.
Yeah,
within the group.
So, but we are years away from that. So we're looking at if it was it with the early 2000s when he moved to Hawaii.
Yeah, I want to say
early 2000s, maybe early 10s. But it was around that time frame. So they got involved in this in when spirituality first started really peaking.
Yeah. And like she was, as I mentioned, she was a tarot reader. She was like an online spiritualist, like influencer type.
And she was the one who taught him about what twin flames.
Yeah, so she would talk about different spiritual topics. She would do tarot, things like that. You see this type all over Witch Talk now.
Oh yeah.
So she, I believe, at least, especially in the beginning, was like believed what she was doing.
I still think throughout it all, I think she still
very much believes
in what, but I think he and she have her convinced that this is all real and that there's like There's a lot of people who assume that she was his first victim and that he convinced her and manipulated her into all of this.
But then hearing her dad be like,
Her
absolutely
father
not.
is flat out says like, hell no, that is not the case.
She knows exactly what she's doing.
Yep. But I do believe she has herself convinced, and he helped convince her that what they are doing is legitimate. Because she just has that, she has a look to her. And I can't, it's not quite like, and I'm going to age myself here, Doe from Heaven's Gate, that like wide-eyed, but his wife, who did kind of, did go hook, line, and sinker into all of it. It's that superior than you, but almost a little uncomfortable in it because she understands the grandiose position that she now lives in almost as and close to being like a divine being.
I don't think she ever intended to become some form of like leader figure.
Yeah.
I think she was probably would have been content doing like internet influencer witch shit for the rest of her life.
Yeah. Because as you see him get a little bit more vocal and get a little bit more controlling, and
she shrinks more and more.
She shrinks, yeah. When it shows the videos, when they cut into videos of their classes from the early on, she spoke a lot more.
Yeah. And you see her kind of get quieter and quieter and take more and more of a background role.
Yeah. Yeah. Eventually what you see happen is he grows out his hair and his beard and starts calling himself the second coming of Christ.
If anybody calls himself a Messiah, this is a giant red flag. You should run. Run.
This is one of the biggest flags that it is one of those things that we're not going to be calling the organization.
And one of the members was like actually called him on it when he started saying this. She was like, well, I'm Jewish. I haven't found my first Messiah. Why do you think you're the second coming? Like,
he then eventually alters the story as in, well, I'm not the second coming of Jesus. Jesus was the precursor to me. And flat out says that that Jesus roamed the earth to get earth and people ready for his coming. So now and that came after you have this challenge.
So now Jesus is the opening act the narrative to right? This guy.
Exactly. He changed the narrative so that it fit more people. Now there's
and he's even like, I look exactly like Jesus, like the white Jesus with the blue eyes and the long brown hair and the white skin. And
that's why he explained. That's how he explains away the early art of a white Jesus. And one that we all now sit back and go, like, come on, guys, Jesus wouldn't look like that.
Yeah.
To him, it's not that the European artists put a European spin on him. It was, well, he was preparing the world for me, so they didn't realize it, but they were painting me. Red flags, guys. One thing that he did do that's an extremely smart move when you're going to be going into this type of business is he learned, and I forget I meant to relook up the scientific term to it.
Right. It's almost like a hypnosis technique.
It's neuro
something speaking.
Yeah. And essentially it is brainwashing through words, right? You're able to speak in a way, and it's not just the words you say.
It's the rhythm, it's the intonation, it's
tone, the switching into the what you see abusers do of, compliment, put them down, compliment, right?
Compliment sandwich,
but not in the good way.
Not in like a manager in.
Yeah. So he studied things specifically to be able to advance himself and get people to want to be. And actually, a really good example of this kind of technique would be the fat electrician.
Yeah.
So on YouTube, TikTok, all that kind of good stuff, you have a gentleman by the name of calls himself this, so don't feel awkward calling him fat. And he's not even fat, it's
just his screen name is Fat Electrician.
Yeah, the screen name is Fat Electrician. He does military history. What he found out, so this is the kind of guy, and since he blew up on social medias, he's a part owner of like 12 different businesses at this point, right?
Yeah.
He sees a business that he likes, and he just be like, hey, I want in. Here's money. Smart guy, business mind, hard worker, all that kind of good stuff. But one thing he found when he started doing content was he looked up how many beats per minute he should speak at. And it's something like 90 beats per minute, and it gives you that thing, and it becomes hypnotic. And
So he
it's what
started
is,
practicing with like a metronome
yeah,
to keep a
yeah.
pace that he wanted.
And when you have that pace, people don't realize it, but they get sucked into it because it's a very pleasant pace.
I mean, if you've ever watched a TikTok or an Instagram reel or a YouTube video and you're like, oh my God, this person needs to speak faster, or like,
Mhm.
I'm barely keeping up, or you're like really engaged because they're going super fast, but the topic's really interesting. So you're super engaged and they're going just the right speed. This is
This is
this
what we're
is a
talking about.
technique they're
Yeah.
applying or not applying as
Yeah.
necessary. So it's incredibly, incredibly effective, especially in short form
Yes.
media. But it's something to keep in mind when you're like, oh man, this feels like a good pace. Like, very likely, if it's a experienced influencer, they know that.
Yep. Yep. And that's what this guy learned. He went to classes, he learned these techniques, and he applied them. And while in Hawaii, they started setting up multiple internet businesses.
Yeah, they did, a lot of this was all done remotely for a very long time.
Yes.
And a lot of it is still done remotely.
Yes.
It is all
Oh, yeah.
primarily an internet focused situation.
So one of the most notable, I think, online businesses he had, and this was the kind of the first sign that he was going off the deep end or manipulative and not afraid of taking advantage of people that were vulnerable. This was his healer business. And all of a sudden, he came out as this amazing healer that can cure anything and had testimonials, air quote, testimonials of curing cancer. And this even made one of his old high school buddies really uncomfortable in what he was doing. So he,
He was
leaves
like,
a
oh,
comment of, you know, hey man, this isn't really cool. Like,
my
my
mom
mom
died.
died of cancer while we were in school together. Like, don't you think this is a bit predatory on people who are in very vulnerable states? And the only response back he sent was, I'm really sorry I didn't have this gift soon enough to save your mom.
And he continues this kind of predatory behavior to this day. He likes to target support groups for PTSD, trauma, chronic illness, mental health, addiction. He targets these people with promises of, I will heal you with your twin flame.
Yeah. And if I remember correctly, like, he openly admits that he preys on these.
No, he literally
groups.
that was from the mouth of directly from the horse's mouth.
Yeah. So now, as we're talking about this stuff, understand, while we're not saying the names and we're not calling it what it really is,
You can go watch these documentaries
watch
and
these
hear them say it.
documentaries because you'll hear this from their own mouth. So it's flabbergasting that they would still technically be able to go after anybody who calls them this.
Yeah.
They've had articles written about them calling them the C word.
Yeah. It was one was in Vanity and one was in Vice.
Yeah. And I don't think they took legal action against. There was they had a whole lot of disclaimers put out and corrections.
I think there were some attempts made, but nothing came of it.
At the same time, and this I was going to save this to the very end to bring this up, but I'll do it now because it just shows that while in the 20 teens and early 2020s they may not have been able to go after anybody who came after them. The documentaries were made. I think the last one came out. I think it was like 2021, 2023.
Yeah, I think those were the 2 years.
At the end, when they made the last one, the one that came in 2023, I don't remember which one that was, but whichever one it is, they had about 14,000 members worldwide. By the time the editing and everything got done for the documentary and it was put out there, it was up to just under 40,000. And when they do this, if you're buying classes individually, they're almost $300 a class.
Yeah.
When you buy their catalog, it's thousands of dollars. We'll get into their coaches. It's ridiculous the amount of money that they're rolling in it.
All of their coaches are volunteers. So these people are spending hours creating content, editing content, mentoring people. Most of them have trouble keeping a regular job because they are too busy working for free for this organization.
Their social media people, their security, everybody that is below the married couple. If they are paid,
It's a pittance. And a lot of times it's like, well, you can get our next class session for free instead. It'll be a barter of a system or a class or
and the coaches have to pay like $2,500 or it's a couple $1,000 every month.
Yeah.
To stay active and growing and all this stuff.
Because they have to continue training with classes for coaches that are released regularly that they have to purchase and take in order to maintain their coaching certifications.
Yeah. So eventually, all right, so the wife is the one who teaches him about soul flames, and it's eventually what drives them to move forward with or helps, they plan together to move forward with this whole twin flame idea.
Yeah.
But everything's been going so horribly for them financially. They not only do they have to move back to Michigan, they have to move back in with his parents, which lasted a couple months.
Yeah.
Until family said, get out.
You're obnoxious. Get out of here.
Just get out.
One of their buddies was like, all right, yeah, you can couch crash. So all they did was eat hot dogs 3 times a day.
Lunch and dinner.
The entire time.
He said it's been years
since he's been able to look at a hot dog.
That's sad.
Right?
How bad, seriously, how bad of a person you have to be to ruin hot dogs for someone? It's ridiculous.
So yeah, and then things started actually kicking off for them.
They started getting some followers and enough to be able to get a small apartment, which was, maybe the one video, every stage along the way, they'll show you their new apartment or their new house or their new luxury car.
Yeah, anytime they upgrade, anytime they upgrade, they show it off.
Because that shows everybody.
Look at all the abundance.
Look at the abundance you can have if you do this. We're twin flames. And we have abundance.
No,
you need to be a coach because that's how you make money is pulling through other people in. We coach you, you coach them. Look at all the money we are making.
And I'm going to point out the reason these people are still active, there hasn't been legal action taken, is everything they're doing is legal.
100% legal.
As long as they can't prove that people are being coerced into things, and that they're being it has the appearance of being done with their free will. We all know people are being coerced.
I don't understand how they can't be hit for legally coercing people to do things. Watch the videos.
Yeah, but there's also no legal repercussion for that kind of coercion.
That's fair.
So it's just there's no laws on the books against this stuff. So unless they hit them for something like tax fraud, there's nothing right now that can be done.
They got themselves situated as a church.
Yeah, so
they have their own religion now. So all they have to do is funnel most of the money through that, and it's completely tax-free.
Yeah, so
looking at you, Joel Osteen.
Yeah. So this is why doesn't the government do something? We don't have laws against this. It's built into our First Amendment. This is a freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of expression kind of thing. The cops can agree with the families because there are plenty of families that have tried to.
There has been legal investigations. The local cops have gone and looked into them.
The FBI now has
a case open against them because, and he said, he's so cocky when he's talking to the cops.
Yeah,
he's like, listen, we run a business where we provide a product. We don't force people to buy that product. We don't, then we have a religion. We don't force people into religion. We don't force people into doing anything. It's of their own free will that they're spending their money and dedicating their time.
And the fact that so much of this is done remotely makes it even harder to get him for any kind of abusive or coercive actions because, it's not like I have them chained to my basement.
Yeah.
It's not like there's a big compound, although that's something it sounds like he's working on.
They're trying for it.
They are looking at property, and they were planning on having everybody live in a trailer while they built it for them.
Yep.
But at the same time, if that's what they choose to do, there's nothing legally that can happen from it.
That's the gray area of cults. until
they become wildly dangerous.
yeah,
Until you end up with a Jonestown, until you end up with a Heaven's Gate, there's
Like,
nothing the government can really do unless they happen to get you for some kind of financial fraud.
yeah, yeah.
So this is be very wary of groups, man. Like, especially ones that charge admission.
So initially, so when they first started building, initially uh, we run into this lesbian couple who
Mhm.
were uh, friends, special friends, early on in
They
life.
were both in heterosexual marriages, realized they were lesbians, eventually divorced, and
Well, they started out in digging each other before they got married.
yeah,
Then they end up in heterosexual marriages, have kids, you know, start talking again. The one's like, "Listen, this is stupid. Why aren't we doing this?" And the other's like, "Have you heard of twin flames?" And she's like, "No, what's that?" So she teaches her about twin flames, gets her into this organization with her. They leave their husbands, they get together, and then they become the poster children
uh,
for this group. Because look at the success. It's not just us. Look at them. It's their success also because
and look
they
how
work.
welcoming we are to the LGBTQIA plus. Like, look
Yeah,
how welcoming we are.
they used it for everything, and membership started growing.
Yeah,
And in the beginning, people were encouraged to look for and find their twin flames.
external soulmates. There's this one girl, I believe her name was Marley. On the documentary, she was 19 years old. She's like, I had no interest in settling down, getting married. I was like, I didn't want to do any of that till I was 30. Then she got, some creepy DM on Facebook or whatever from some man who was damn near 30 years old, living in fucking Canada or some shit. Like
Utah.
Utah, that's right. He moved to Canada later. Um, and they're like, "Oh, that must be your twin flame. You should go to him."
And that's kind of what they started doing. They started convincing people.
And she was like, "I thought he was creepy. I thought he was gross. Like I had no interest in him." And she ends up in a years-long relationship with this man
Married.
because they told him they were twin flames.
Yep. Yep. In that situation, they were just told, like, oh, well, you're the runner, he's the chaser. And that's why it feels gross because internally you are afraid of this connection and how intense and wonderful it is. So you should
Meanwhile,
go to him.
they're also promising all this sex, especially to these men who join this thing. It's like basically, if you do not want to have sex with your partner, with your twin flame, you are
You're
the
the problem.
problem, which led to a lot of what I would call domestic rape
I
in
mean,
these
he
relationships.
literally, on one of the videos, he literally gives the story second by second, line from line of domestic rape,
Yeah.
of pinning his wife down to the bed and ignoring the no's and stops.
Yeah.
But it's okay because she eventually enjoyed it. And it's his right as the divine masculine
To take that.
to take that. Right? There's literally nothing these people do is anything short of disgusting.
Yeah.
They're deplorable human beings.
On top of it, prime abusive tactic. They would regularly isolate people from their families. They would be like,
Yeah.
oh, your family doesn't want you doing this because they're abusive, they're demonic, they're evil. They're trying to keep you from your spiritual growth because they're low vibrational. All this shit.
Mind you, they're doing all of this in a Christian light.
Yes.
God made your twin flame. God wants you to have your twin flame. If you love God, you will chase after your twin flame.
So,
I keep forgetting that they're technically Christians. Which I mean, yay, they're not sullying the name of paganism.
and so they're doing this to parents and sisters and brothers. They're being labeled as demonic and evil and abusive because they see what's happening. They see the organization that their child or their sibling is in, and they're like, this is not good. This is not healthy for you. You are in danger.
Yeah.
And
I mean, if I remember correctly, there was one parent that when asked by the member of the group, do you support this? The parent said, I want to, but I'm just not there. I need you to teach me more about this so that I can support you. And the answer was, that's not good enough. You're out of my life forever.
Yeah.
Because that is what their leaders told them to do.
You know, there was one girl who had a restraining order against her from her quote unquote twin flame, who was married, by the way.
Yep.
And wanted her to leave him alone. And this poor girl, like, she was going out dancing for her birthday. She just happened to be at a club that he also was at. He saw her, called the cops, and had her arrested. She spent 6 weeks in jail.
Because she only had two phone numbers, his and her mom's. And her mom had already cut her off because of the craziness that she was going through.
Well, she had cut her mom off.
Or sorry, yeah, she cut her mom off. I'm sorry.
She wasn't going to call her mom because she cut her off. But then when she actually got in contact with leader dude, he was like, well, this is your fault.
Yes.
Like, this is all you were and he tried to be like, you were stalking him, weren't you?
Yeah.
You
As if he doesn't have video proof that he tells people to stalk people.
Yeah.
Right? Literally using the words, but then turns around and says, I never said that.
Yeah.
We don't promote stalking.
Gaslighting to the extreme.
To the extreme.
So that's, I think, when it started to crack for her. That was Elle, I believe.
I think so.
It started to crack for her, and she starts seeing the forest for the trees a little bit. Nobody spends 6 weeks in being left to rot in jail, especially when somebody has the money to bail you out.
Yeah.
She did eventually call her mother and reconnect with her. There was a couple people that are like,
yeah,
that had cut off their parents, that they called and they're like, I need to get out of here and I need your help to do so. And the parents, I mean, in this situation, like, what can you do? Like, the child is cut off, you leave the lane of communication open and hope they reach out. And the ones who did, you can see how, like, relieved the parents are that they can now start, like, helping their child heal.
Yeah. Now, just to put in perspective how they would determine if somebody was a twin flame that their student needed to go after, right? Talking about the same lady that ended up going to jail for stalking for 6 weeks. She was a scientist. Like, she was a legit work in a lab scientist who would go to and DJ at raves on the side, went to Burning Man all the time, and she fell in love with this man. They were in a legitimate relationship. She moved out to be with him, and then shortly after, she got into a massive car accident and was temporarily paralyzed. She had to have numerous surgeries on her back to get it so that she could walk again. Okay. Dude left her in the middle of all that.
Yep.
Left her. Right. So let's just take a point of, like, how disgusting this human being is.
Right? Like,
why would you want this man in your life?
Why do you want this trash? The kind of person who, the minute you have a hardship,
legitimate hardship,
incapacitated, and the minute that you can't focus all of your energy on them,
he fucks off and goes find somebody else. Right? So they break up. He goes off, finds somebody else, gets married, has a life. She eventually gets involved into this organization. And he's like,
because again, heartbroken, physically damaged,
physically, mentally, and emotionally damaged individual. The absolute perfect target.
Yeah.
For people like these leaders, right? And she tells his story, and he's like, "That's your twin flame." She's, no, that is your twin. You still love him because he's your twin flame. You should go after him. And he builds this all up and creates this. Another story. There is a trans woman who worked at a gas station. And there's a customer that come in all the time. And even she was saying, like, this is not the kind of guy I would go for. I'm not the kind of woman he would go for. This is a very small town Bible Belt hick area situation. But he would give her...
They would flirt a little.
He'd flirt a little bit, right? Because who doesn't? You see an attractive woman behind a counter at a gas station, it might only be once, but you flirt a little. And she mentions that, and it's, there's your twin flame. You should go after him. And the fact that it's not just flirting as a twin flame is the fact that you guys are such opposites. Yet there's an attraction. You should go after him. Thankfully for her, I don't think that really turned into anything.
No, I think she seemed to realize fairly quickly what was going
She
on.
broke. She was one of the earlier ones.
Yeah, she was one of the
but
early
she's
ones.
Also one of the first ones to break free, if I understood the timeline.
Yeah, she was one of she was like what it was, first in, first out situation. Mm-hmm. She was like, this isn't what I signed up for. And I think she was also very much also like the lesbian couple being used as a poster child.
Yes.
For like, look how accepting we are.
Yeah.
And I think when they started coercing transitions, she got very uncomfortable with that situation and got out.
So, okay, you brought that up. So we'll advance them a little bit. Now, mind you, as all this is going and as it all is growing, they are getting bigger houses, more cars, all this stuff. And in the classes, these classes are all mandatory. You got to FaceTime with the whole group. Man, they keep pushing. He keeps pushing, specifically with the support of his wife, telling people they're stupid, they're idiots, they're fucking morons. How dare you challenge me? I'm the one you come to for help on this. I'm the expert, and it's just continually pushing the manipulating somebody through.
I'm
their
big,
traumas.
you're small. You're dumb,
Yes.
I'm smart.
Yes.
Like,
and when you have people who are already in some way, shape, or form emotionally compromised, this works really well. You see this in pretty much all DV type situations, right?
Yeah.
This is, and add on top of it, he has studied how to coerce and manipulate people just through speaking. So it turns into a prime situation for him.
Like any cycle of abuse, he would go through periods with, especially like the people that are pumping the most money, and he would go through periods where he was really kind.
Very kind.
And really like, yes. I trust you so much. Like, you're one of my most special people. And make them feel really good about themselves. So that when he went back to tear them down, he had built them up a little bit so they weren't completely broken.
There was a lot of fake love and adoration and
a lot of love bombing.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. And they started getting into a whole slew of weird things.
Yeah. And now keep in mind, at this point, the organization is probably about 70% female.
Yeah.
There are not a whole lot of men that are signing up for this. And I feel like a lot of the ones who did were either brought in by their partners or were looking to prey upon someone.
Yeah. I think that's a fair assessment. And that percentage becomes a big problem because they started showing, like, there started becoming cracks in the foundation. And that was because so many people were unable to find their twin flame. And if they were able to find them, none of these techniques of chasing them down
worked.
Well, and throughout this whole process, we forgot to mention the mirror method.
Oh, yeah.
Technique. So throughout all of this, anytime something didn't go right for you, or if you're in a situation you didn't like, they told you to turn it into a mirror, right? So you're supposed to sit there and be like, so let's say I'm in a relationship with Sally, right? And Sally didn't want to be in this relationship because she's, now according to them, it's because she's the runner and I'm the chaser. In reality, it's just because I'm acting like a crazy person, right? But it's Sally just told me that I'm creepy and I'm a stalker and she doesn't want to be with me. So now you take that statement and you replace everything with Sally with I'm being creepy. I'm being a stalker. I am too afraid of a relationship for her to want to be in one. Like it's all to put back on yourself.
Which, for self-reflection, can be an effective technique.
But it doesn't work in every situation.
Yeah, but it's not for everything. And then it's, what did I do wrong? What am I doing wrong? Like, what is broken inside of me that I can't get my twin flame?
Yeah.
That I can't be whole, that I can't be happy. And then it starts being like, I don't believe enough. I don't listen enough. I don't work hard enough. It becomes into all of the things that you're not doing and that you are not.
He's essentially taught all of them to tear themselves down.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you're just making it easier for him to get the calls deeper and deeper in. And we say him, but it's really they.
Yeah.
It's the two of them.
It's the two of them.
But as we said earlier, he becomes the vocal side to it. She sinks, kind of sinks in a little bit, and he becomes the overly vocal side. He becomes the Christ. He becomes so.
Yeah, I was actually kind of like ecstatic after they had the miscarriage and he was trying to speak over her and she was like, no, that's not what the doctor said. I'll tell you what the doctor told me.
Yeah, you missed the last line of the one documentary.
Oh, yeah?
The child was born in 2023.
Oh, no, they had a miscarriage.
No. After that.
That means they had a different child.
Yes.
In the 2021 documentary, they had a miscarriage.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is they eventually had a child.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, when she speaks, when he starts speaking over, and she's like, no,
oh, yeah, no,
I will tell you what the doctor told me.
Which shows that she is not the submissive in this.
Yeah.
She is completely involved in.
That she is not afraid to speak up where it is necessary.
Now, it's absolutely horrible that they have a child because they have now deemed this child their third of their twin flame. They're a celibate side of the twin flame.
Yes, because they're only supposed to be married to God.
They're bringing in all now divine lineage, but that's
no.
There's still so much more before we get there fully.
But wait, there's more.
There's more.
It is literally a QVC commercial of spirituality.
Yeah.
So back to this is like a predominantly feminine group.
And the cracks are showing because nobody's finding their twin flame.
There's no guys. And then if they do find like a partner outside of the group, a lot of them leave because they're like, oh, this girl's into some weird cult shit. I'm out of here.
And if she doesn't leave, I'm leaving her.
Yeah, and so they just dip. So they start closing ranks and they start pairing you with them, you with her, you with her, you with her.
Suddenly, all of those twin flames that he was encouraging them to go after, we'll say
are their false twins.
That's the false twin flame. That's from the list of
the list of 12.
The list of 12.
That's your false twin flame. And now, and this is again like where I took issue with like using divine masculine and divine feminine. Okay, well, you're the masculine one, you're the feminine one, so you need to transition.
Yep.
And these are people who never had an inkling. Like, you had several people who were like, I've always thought of myself as a girl. I've always been a woman. I call myself she, her. And they would push back and push back and push back and push back.
When we look at that initial couple, the one's name was Anne. And it was, well, Anne, you're the masculine. Oh, I never really thought of myself in that way. They go, no, but you are. You're the divine masculine because I see it in you. You don't have to see it in yourself. I'm assigning it. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So you should look into transitioning into a man. I really don't want to do that. Why don't you want to do that? And like yell at.
And she's like, because it doesn't feel like me.
She's like, it doesn't feel like. Well, you need to start thinking of
a new
masculine name.
And then just starts calling her Dan.
She's like, well, nothing ever really feels right when I think of that. She goes, well, Dan. Your name's Dan now. And then, the couple has shared not tweets, but text messages from after. It's like, you have exactly 1 week to adopt male pronouns and the name Dan. And they force him to do this. And they multiple people force to get haircuts, to dress, to do. Eventually, some of them start getting
surgery,
coerced into surgery and getting top surgery. And the weirdest one, they had a couple, but assigned the male at birth as the feminine and the female at birth as the man, and made them both transition.
Yeah, so like
at this point, it's manipulation.
Yeah, it's to see if they can make them do it, to see how. And like with the lesbian couple, they had so much of their livelihood tied up into this organization
because they were literally there from the very beginning. They were seen as like if these two were the presidents of the company, these were like the vice presidents. Everything was sank into it. So they were making good money too. They were the only other ones.
And they had kids, and they're like, we don't want to lose our income. We've been doing this for years now. Like, we don't know what to do to support ourselves if we're not doing this. So like they went along with a lot of it because they just needed to keep the money coming in.
Yeah.
So yeah, you see a lot of these like weirdly forced transitions, and again, it started being a poster child. Like, look how welcoming we are.
Yeah.
Look at how all of our people feel comfortable transition and finally be their true selves, and it's like, A lot of them did not want to, they had no inkling
No.
of, and it actually pushed a lot of their members out.
It was kind of a part where you're seeing some mass exodus. At the same time, a lot of people went along with it because of a couple things. One being they truly love me and I'm accepted here and they haven't led me astray yet. So why would they lie to me
Like,
now?
why would it?
Why shouldn't I listen to him? He's right. It's one of those things of he knows better than I do. It's that abusive relationship mentality.
There's
Go along.
there's also, and this is something that I've heard discussed about a lot of different groups like this. Once you get into a certain level, you want to keep the illusion up because otherwise you have to admit to the fact that you got taken in.
You got to take
And you
that
don't
you've
want to feel
wasted so
stupid.
much time. You've wasted so much money.
You sunk so much into this, it has to work. It has to work. It has to work. Because otherwise I am the dumbest motherfucker alive.
And we see that a lot with another religion, not a cult, that a lot of Hollywood and
Yeah.
famous people
This is very this is very commonly seen in Scientology.
There's the word I wasn't going to use.
Why not?
I don't know.
They ain't gonna come after us.
We're way too small.
Yeah. If they ain't going after TMZ, they ain't coming after us.
All right, that's fair.
But yeah, it's a lot of in for a penny, in for a pound because they've gotten so invested in this and they've taken it so far.
Yeah.
That it's almost embarrassing to try to back out at that point, and they'd rather continue to sink lower than deal with what being wrong means to them.
Well, and through all of this, they've constructed an MLM.
Yeah.
Right. It's a classic pyramid scheme. So you have them at the top, and then you have, your I forget what they call them, but your highest of coaches, right? And then you have your regular coaches, and then you have your members. So when you've spent all the money that you can to get all the videos that you can, and you're sucked into it as a member, well, then you get the opportunity to become
A coach.
a coach. And when you're a coach, you counsel people through things. You do the explanation of what the videos are for. You teach the classes yourself, and you're supposed to recruit X number of people per week, per month, per whatever, right?
Yeah.
But when you become a coach, like we mentioned earlier, your payment doesn't stop. It actually increases because now you have to pay for specialized training. And you have to pay for X, Y, and Z. You have to do this and you have to do that. And then as you get to the highest level of the coach, it's even more because now you're coaching the coaches, but also coaching the members. You're recruiting members, you're recruiting coaches. Like it's all this stuff, right? And they are just sitting back. They make a video every now and then.
Yeah,
They do what
they
they
started the
want.
whole coaching system so they didn't have to be the ones making the videos all the time. So they release, their big classes.
Yep.
A video for like the big classes or for like the coaching classes and then trickle it all down.
And lo and behold, as you move up, and it's a glorious thing to become a coach because now you get to interact with them directly. You get taught by them directly. But eventually, what some of the other parts that got the higher ups to start leaving was they found out that they're absorbing more than 50% of what the coaches pay every month, and the rest of it goes to the organization. And this is where they get all this grandiose shit.
Yeah.
And eventually, what turns into a big mansion, multiple luxury vehicles, and this is during COVID time frames, right? So this is during the lockdowns, and this is where one of the documentaries taking place because they followed along with um, the reporter for Vanity, I believe, or is it Vice?
Vice was Netflix, Vanity was Amazon.
So it was the Vanity one. So she actually got her editors to let her go to their house during the lockdowns.
Yeah.
And what she found was it's this big old house, and all of a sudden she goes down in the finished basement during this big tour, and there's people living there, and they've started bringing in special members.
This one
this is like the beginning
was this
of
Gabe or Isaiah? I think it was one of them.
Gabe.
It was Gabe.
Yeah.
Because Isaiah's the one who got out. Isaiah's the one who called his mom and was like, I need out of this relationship.
Yeah. So this was like one of the first couples they brought together, the first two women they brought together, and then had the one transition. And they were teaching them how to act in these roles. So the woman of the group, she would do all the cooking and the cleaning of the house. The man of the group, the divine masculine, did all the yard work. And they had a couple different couples living in there, and they all lived in their own little, their own little room in the basement. And it's a finished basement, it's a mansion. It's
not like they're.
It's not like the creepy basement the spiders own, like in our house. But so it's becoming this in-person teaching on how to embrace your role as either divine masculine or divine feminine. And this is growing. Because like Jess mentioned, he even mentions in it that they were at the time looking at like a $5 to $10 million parcel of land.
3 to 4 million.
3 to 4, sorry. That they were going to.
They wanted to do like a 300-person event hall.
Yeah.
And have all of the people live in a trailer on the property while they built it.
Yeah. And eventually what it would become would be a commune for their organization, with the couples living there, having children.
Yeah, they
raising the children within the organization. However,
how are you going to have children when half your members are on hormone replacement therapy? Most of them are both biologically female, so they cannot procreate.
I mean,
anyway.
I can tell you exactly how.
So it's going to be a whole lot of your great and glorious leader spreading his seed around and dictating who gets to.
But they're not a cult.
Carry.
They're not a cult.
Not a cult.
They're not following typical cult behavior whatsoever.
Has absolutely nothing to do with any cult I've ever heard of.
No, never heard a single one doing anything like that.
Never.
I'm claiming to be Jesus, Waco. So,
yeah.
At the end of it, and this is kind of the nice thing about the documentaries, there are a lot who have gotten away. There are a lot who recognize what it is, who are more than happy to fight for this group to be legally taken down.
There are a lot of families that are still actively trying to
get their
do what they can
back. There's unfortunately some who have unalived because of all this.
And that's another. There was, and it was just a member that came on. They were really struggling. They were starting the program, and they ended up committing suicide. And that was a catalyst for a lot of people to leave. They're like, this isn't working. People shouldn't be feeling so lost within this group. This is supposed to be a place where we're healed, not where we get broken down further. So I think that gave a lot of perspective for some people who had maybe, there's a little bit of crack showing with the people who've been there for a minute. And it, especially in these type of group situations, it is very difficult to convince yourself to leave.
Because it's not necessarily just, and then you get the question of, well, why do the coaches go along with all this? Especially because it was the coaches that had to pull members in, or other coaches and other higher ups, and assign them their new genders and their new everything else.
They were
and then push it and have to use the same techniques that he did. Of, well, if you really like the program, if you really believe, if you're really this, if you're really that, you're going to do it.
Well, and he would send out emails with the names of the couplings. He'd be like, all right, this person and this person, you're mask, you're fat. And then like that's how it was sent out.
And make the coaches do it.
And then the coaches would have to go, all right, this is what's happening now.
And a lot of the coaches would be sitting there going like, I don't want to do this. But you have to. Because again, your time, your money, your belief structure, it's that whole thing of those who are made victims can eventually become
the perpetrator.
Because A, it's what they know, and 2, they're too afraid to stand up and say no.
Yeah.
They're too afraid to do anything else other than go along. And, once you've been in it for a certain length of time, because they use these kind of techniques where they isolated you from friends, they isolated you from family, you literally have nobody. You are
The only people,
so deep in
the only
that
people
you
you,
will literally lose everything when you walk away.
yeah, the only people you have to go to in these situations are people in the exact same situation you are.
Yeah.
And they're going to maintain their worldview as much as possible as well. So it's a very difficult thing to remove yourself from.
Yeah. And like, okay, so we go back to the lady who um, was arrested for stalking,
Yes.
right? When she spoke out that he left her in jail, all of a sudden she was blocked from almost everything. And I'm going to say why we're saying
Oh,
that.
she was so funny. Oh, she cracked me up.
She got blocked from all direct communications, phones, Facebook, all this kind of stuff. Her personal stuff got blocked. He went out and told everybody in the organization how much of a piece of shit she was, how they needed to not talk to her, how they needed to block her, cut her off. So when you were done and no longer purposeful in their life, or if you were showing a giant crack in their scheme,
If you're showing that you're not buying their bullshit anymore, you're done.
you're excommunicated.
But
Nobody's allowed to talk to you.
but
You're out of it.
what was hilarious about this situation is she ran their social media accounts, all of them, and they didn't think to like change the passwords.
That's why I say she was blocked from most things.
So she was going on, and it was her and one other girl that they would just go on and just leave all sorts of like whack ass memes and shit like all over their social media until they finally figure out what the hell was going on. And
well,
like,
and not only that, and I think this is even that is petty and fun and getting her just desserts in the right way. This was great for getting the business kind of slowing down a little bit. She would go in and direct all of their Facebook advertising to non-speaking countries because you can pinpoint exactly where you want your ads and your advertising to go to. So she would go in and hijack it
and be
and
like,
send it all to like very small African countries or small Asian countries or places that English is not going to be a common thing and nobody's going to have the money to do this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she a little on the smart side.
Yeah, I honestly I don't blame her. That was fucking hysterical. I was like, thank you, girl. Like somebody had some sense here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I would like to point out that since 2020, there are roughly 10,000 plus internet cults, especially that are currently operating in the United States. Not surprising that 2020 left a lot of people feeling imbalanced and insecure and left a lot of them vulnerable. So when you see these Facebook ads for classes, for um, certifications, for mentorships, be incredibly, incredibly careful what you're getting yourself into and what you're paying for. Because people like this advertise on these spaces.
Yeah.
There are people that get pulled onto celebrity podcasts. There are people that work with celebrities who will recommend them that are dangerous to be involved with.
And anybody is susceptible to these things.
Yes.
Right. It's not,
You're
it's
not
easy to sit back and be like, oh man, they're so stupid for getting taken advantage of like this. Anybody can be vulnerable enough at a moment.
Everybody is susceptible to some form of propaganda. Period. Yes. The end. You are not that smart. I'm sorry.
Well, and you know what? To a degree, and I'll equate this, and I'll show that even like I would say to a degree, we were sucked into something like this.
Yeah.
Right. There was a shop that was around in the Pittsburgh area. In fact, occupied the same space at the Menagerie in Bellevue, Pennsylvania. Now has, and they eventually moved locations, and then they eventually closed down. We helped run their business during 2020 when they decided to move to New York the first time. But when we first met them, it's very charismatic.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. And it wasn't until we began to become friends that you start seeing behind the scenes and you start seeing some of these cracks, right? And all of a sudden now we're realizing there's this very charismatic spiritual leader of the area who the second anybody walked out of their building was
calling them things like mutants.
yeah, making fun of them for having
An issue.
problems. You would monitor the security cameras and force you to kick people out of the shop because they don't spend enough money. So, thankfully,
They're gone.
that whole relationship went
Exactly where it needed to
away.
be.
It went extinct.
We were not caught up with it for very long.
We weren't kind of, but it was very easy. And you know what? During that time frame, I will say I was in that emotionally vulnerable state, right? I had just lost a career, not just a job. At first, it was a job, and then it was the realization of I'm potentially losing my entire career. Because of that career, we were on the rocks. 2020 was a wonderful time for us because it really helped break free a lot of bad habits.
Yeah.
But I was in
But it was a traumatic tower moment.
It was a very traumatic tower moment, but it was a necessary one for us.
Yeah.
In so many different ways.
Absolutely.
And that was the time in which we met these people. So, we got sucked in. We were spiritually growing. We were emotionally growing. We were financially.
But we were good enough for now, so let's take some time to figure it out.
Yeah. So, it's very easy to get sucked into these things. And I think especially when we've referenced them numerous times, never by name, never by anything, because I think that it's the importance of everybody gets sucked into something bigger than them and not always something great. And it's easy. It's easy to get sucked in. The hard part is recognizing it as fast as possible and getting the fuck away from it as fast as possible.
Severing the ties and protecting your asses.
There was a whole lot of times that the two of us and Adam and a couple other people would joke like, oh, they should just go ahead and start a cult. That's the direction they're headed in. And that was the first thing I noticed about this couple with this internet cult that we've just been talking about. They are so similar.
Well, and he would even joke that his friends would be like, oh, you should start a cult. And it's like, anybody who jokes that you should start a cult, you should probably be
questioning who you are and
questioning your behavior.
Yeah,
for sure. It's time to pull that mirror out and look at yourself.
Right.
Because yeah, no. And if somebody suggests that and you're like, you're the problem. Because if anybody were to suggest that, she's like, fuck that, I don't want a responsibility for anybody.
Because on their social medias, one time somebody even said like, oh, so and so, you should start a cult, and he's like, who says I'm not already planning? It's like, I know you're joking, but are you?
Yeah.
And when you look at now, obviously the people that we've just been talking about are much worse than these other Pittsburghs.
They actually have follow through on these other two jack-offs.
Motivation and work ethic.
Yeah.
That's the difference, I think. But
I think it's the fact that they're not stoned all the time.
True. That's another one.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I guess the moral of the story is it's easy to get sucked in on this, especially when it comes to something that is so deeply ingrained in mankind because we are pack animals. Yeah. We are relationship people. Everybody is still societally being pressured to find that someone, to find that twin flame, to bring it back around. And they become easily susceptible to predators. Yep. So be careful when it comes to that. Be careful who you're letting in your life. Be careful of what practices you're looking at.
And if you have multiple people around you going, this isn't right, this is a red flag, or this is dangerous, I know it doesn't always feel good to hear that, but maybe just take a breath and try to listen to them. At least try to see it from their viewpoint.
If you're in a situation where everybody else is wrong but you're right,
you're probably
the right. So before you end up getting yourself sucked into something horrible, like a cult, or not cult, because or just into a relationship because
That's bad news.
that's bad news because you feel this intense connection with somebody because, oh, well, then they must be my twin flame. And now you're in an abusive relationship. Be careful, please.
Yeah, just watch yourself. Protect yourself. It's okay to not be vulnerable all the time.
And if and when you do meet your actual twin flame, get ready for some tower moment, but get ready for some wonderful growth.
Yeah.
Twin flames aren't a bad thing unless you're looking at it in the wrong direction and for the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So be careful. And on that note, I think we're going to go ahead and close this out.
Yes.
Hopefully we pissed you off a little bit and then kind of brought it into a nice even space towards the end there. We do have a real treat coming up. Our next series is going to be sitting down with Thomas Mooneagle, who is a fantastic practitioner, shaman from the Kentucky area that comes up here every year to teach classes or workshops or however you want to phrase it. And while he's up here, he's going to sit down and have a chat with us. We got some great topics to go over. So make sure you're tuning in for all of this one and all of his and beyond. In the meantime, you can also find us on Facebook and Instagram. You can check out our shop at themenageriePGH.com or at the Menagerie PGH. And, kind of like we do with the Conclave of at the Conclave.
Yeah, we try to keep it all the same.
Keep it all the same. Check us out. Hit us up. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, ideas, or you want to tell us how wrong we are, email us at The.Conclave.Podcast at gmail.com or hit us up on any social media site.
Yeah.
On that note, guys, have a great day. We will see you next time.
It's on you now. You have the knowledge. Do with it as you will. Until next time, the conclave has concluded.